All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch e-Rupee, a cashless and contactless instrument for digital payment today. Indian and Chinese armies establish hotline for Sikkim sector. India begins UN Security Council presidency for August. President Ramnath Kovind to embark on a 5-day visit to Tamil Nadu today. More than 47 crore 2 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Educational institutions to reopen in several states today. Myanmar's military extends emergency for 2 years. PV Sindhu bags bronze at Tokyo Olympics. President, Vice President and Prime Minister congratulate her on the historic win. And India's Kamalpreet Kaur to play her final in women's discus throw at Tokyo Games this evening. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 01123978046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch e-Rupee, a cashless and contactless instrument for digital payment today through video conferencing. Mr. Modi has always championed digital initiatives. e-Rupee, a person and purpose-specific digital payment solution, is a QR code or SMS string-based e-voucher which is delivered to the mobile of the beneficiaries. A report.
e-Rupee has been developed by National Payments Corporation of India on its UPI platform in collaboration with the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and National Health Authority. The users of this seamless one-time payment mechanism will be able to redeem the voucher without a card, digital payments app or internet banking access at the service provider. Over the years, several programs have been launched to ensure that the benefits reach its intended beneficiaries in a targeted and leak-proof manner with a limited touch points between the government and the beneficiary. The concept of electronic voucher takes forward this vision of good governance. It's a revolutionary initiative in the direction of ensuring a leak-proof delivery of welfare services. It can also be used for delivering services under schemes meant for providing drugs and nutritional support under mother and child welfare schemes, TB eradication programs, drugs and diagnostics under schemes like Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and fertilizer subsidies. The private sector can also leverage these digital vouchers as part of their employee welfare on corporate social responsibility programs. Ravi Kumar, AAR News Desk.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with the beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana (PMGKAY) in Gujarat at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow through video conferencing. A public participation program is being launched in the state to create further awareness about the scheme. The Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister of Gujarat will also be present on the occasion. The PMGKAY is a food security welfare scheme that was envisaged by the Prime Minister to provide assistance and help mitigate the economic impact of COVID-19. Under the scheme, 5 kilogram additional food grain per person is given to all beneficiaries covered under National Food Security Act.
A hotline was established between the Indian Army at Kongrala in North Sikkim and People's Liberation Army PLA of China at Khamba Zong in Tibetan Autonomous Region. This will further the spirit of trust and cordial relations along the borders. The event coincided with the PLA Day yesterday. The Defence Ministry said the armed forces of the 2 countries have well-established mechanisms for communication at ground commanders level. These hotlines in various sectors will go a long way in enhancing the same and maintaining peace and tranquility at the borders. India took over the presidency of the United Nations Security Council for the month of August. The External Affairs Ministry said India's vision has been steered by dialogue and cooperation, mutual respect and commitment to international law. In its presidency, India will be guided by the principles of transparency, credibility, accountability and effectiveness. Maritime security, peacekeeping and counter-terrorism will be the focus areas for India during its presidency. The ministry said as a founding member of the UN, India is committed to multilateralism, rule of law and fair and equitable international system.
Under the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive, so far more than 47 crore 2 lakh doses have been administered in the country. The Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, more than 60 lakh vaccine doses were administered. During the same period, over 39,000 patients recovered. COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 97.36%. Till now, more than 3 crore 8 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19. India reported over 41,831 new cases in the last 24 hours. The active caseload in the country is now over 410,000. Active cases constitute 1.30% of the total cases. Daily case positivity rate is at 2.34%, remaining below 5%. 541 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. COVID vaccines can save you from the clutches of corona infection, but in a school in Meerut district of Uttar Pradesh, the COVID vaccine can even save you thousands of rupees which you pay as the school fee of your child. A report.
Just show the COVID vaccination certificate and get a rebate on a school fee of 8 months. The initiative has been taken by a private school in Meerut district of Uttar Pradesh to promote the vaccination drive. The Ved International School in Shivaya area of Meerut district has taken this novel step which will not only relieve the economic burden of the family of students, but it will also help in encouraging people for vaccination. Chairman of the school Ajit Kumar told AIR,
हमने एक ऐसा प्रयास किया है कि लोगों को कुछ आर्थिक मदद भी मिल जाए और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का वैक्सीनेशन का प्रोग्राम है उसे बढ़ावा मिल सके। कोरोना का इलाज केवल वैक्सीनेशन है। हमने एक मुहिम छेड़ी है कि जो बच्चे के अभिभावक वैक्सीनेशन करवा के आ जाएंगे उनको हम लगभग पूरे स्कूल को मिला के 1.5 करोड़ की छूट दे रहे हैं।
The school claims that with this initiative they are giving a rebate of more than 1.5 crore rupees to the families of the students. With Sangeeta Srivastava in Meerut, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Educational institutions will reopen in several states today. Punjab government has allowed the reopening of schools for all classes from today as it further relaxed restrictions in view of declining COVID-19 cases. The state government had allowed the reopening of schools for classes 10 to 12 from 26th of July. They've been asked to follow proper protocols to ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior. District authorities will continue to ensure strict implementation of all directives on COVID appropriate behavior. Institutions of higher education will reopen in Ladakh today. Authorities have decided to reopen these institutions as COVID situation in the Union Territory is under control. These institutions are starting physical classes after a gap of more than 9 months. Our Leh correspondent has filed this report.
Higher education institutions are once again coming live with offline classes from today. Ladakh Higher Education Department Secretary Padma Angmo in a series of orders has directed higher educational institutions and technical institutions to resume physical and on-site classes with strict adherence of COVID SOP. Campuses of University of Ladakh and constituent colleges are reopening offline classes since shifted to online mode from November 2020 due to COVID pandemic. While students studying in technical institutes like polytechnic colleges and industrial training institutes are joining their on-site classes for academic works from today. With Ramesh Chandra, Yangchen Dolma for AIR News from Leh Ladakh.
Amid significant improvement in COVID situation in Chhattisgarh, offline classes are starting in schools from today with certain conditions. More from our correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, the state government has decided to start offline classes in schools in those districts where the corona positivity rate is limited to 1% in the last 7 days. At present, along with 10th and 12th, classes from 1st to 5th and 8th will be conducted. The classes of 6th, 7th, 9th and 11th will be conducted online for the time being. Meanwhile, the situation of the corona infection in Chhattisgarh is continuously improving. Large-scale testing is also being carried out to identify new corona-infected patients in the state. So far, about 1,14 lakh samples have been tested in the state. Active cases of COVID-19 are also decreasing rapidly in the state. At present, the number of active patients in the state is about 1,900. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Jammu and Kashmir government has said that schools, colleges and coaching centres will not reopen until further orders in view of the COVID-19 situation. However, there will be no weekend lockdown in the Union Territory, but the night curfew will remain in place. Authorities have permitted educational institutions to seek personal attendance of limited vaccinated staff for administrative purposes. The maximum number of people permitted to attend any indoor or outdoor gathering shall be restricted to 25. Night curfew will continue to remain in force in all districts from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. The DMs have been advised to ensure full compliance to COVID-appropriate behaviour, and defaulters will be firmly dealt with.
In Parliament today, a discussion on the COVID-19 situation and various aspects related to it is scheduled in the Lok Sabha. The lower house is scheduled to take up the Tribunals Reforms Bill 2021 and the General Insurance Business Nationalisation Amendment Bill 2021 for discussion today. Rajya Sabha is scheduled to take up the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order Amendment Bill 2021 and the Inland Vessels Bill 2021. In the run-up to Independence Day, we bring you stories on sectors which have made major impact on the lives of citizens. In this series, today we bring you a report on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Self-Reliant India or Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is the vision of New India envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On 12th of May last year, Mr. Modi had raised a clarion call to the nation, giving a kick-start to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan and announced the special economic and comprehensive package of 20 lakh crore rupees, equivalent to 10% of India's GDP, to fight the COVID-19 pandemic in India. The Prime Minister also stressed on becoming Atmanirbhar in defence manufacturing.
भारतीय में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़े, नई टेक्नोलॉजीज का भारत में ही विकास हो और प्राइवेट सेक्टर का इस विशेष क्षेत्र में अधिकतम विस्तार हो, और इसके लिए लाइसेंसिंग प्रक्रिया में सुधार, लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड की तैयारी, एक्सपोर्ट की प्रक्रिया का सरलीकरण, ऑफसेट के प्रावधानों में सुधार, ऐसे अनेक कदम उठाए गए। साथियों, मेरा मानना है कि इन कदमों से भी अधिक महत्वपूर्ण है रक्षा क्षेत्र में देश में एक नई मानसिकता का जन्म हुआ है। आधुनिक और आत्मनिर्भर भारत के निर्माण के लिए रक्षा क्षेत्र में आत्मविश्वास की भावना अनिवार्य है।
Our correspondent reports that Self-Reliant India mission is based on 5 pillars, that is, economy, infrastructure, system, demography and demand.
The aim of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is to make the country and its citizens independent and self-reliant in all senses. Atmanirbhar Bharat will make India self-reliant by creating an ecosystem that will allow Indian companies to be highly competitive on the global stage. The government has taken several bold reforms such as supply chain reforms for agriculture, rational tax systems, simple and clear laws, capable human resource and strong financial system. The Make in India spirit embedded in the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan has resulted in providing resilience and self-sufficiency to the country for various medical equipment, including personal protective equipment (PPEs). With detailed Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch e-Rupee, a cashless and contactless instrument for digital payments today. Indian and Chinese armies establish hotline for Sikkim sector. India begins UN Security Council presidency for August. President Ram Nath Kovind to embark on a 5-day visit to Tamil Nadu today. More than 47 crore 2 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Educational institutions to reopen in several states today. Myanmar's military extends emergency for 2 years. PV Sindhu bags bronze at Tokyo Olympics. President, Vice President and Prime Minister congratulate her on historic win. And India's Kamalpreet Kaur to play her final in women's discus throw at Tokyo Games this evening. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
President Ramnath Kovind will embark on a 5-day official visit to Tamil Nadu today. Coinciding with the centenary celebrations of the state Legislative Assembly, he is scheduled to unveil the portrait of former Chief Minister and the DMK's patriarch M. Karunanidhi in its premises this afternoon. Later, after a brief sojourn at the Raj Bhavan Ooty campus, he will attend a function at the Defence Services Staff College at Wellington in the Nilgiris district on Wednesday. More from our Chennai correspondent.
The State Assembly, earlier known as the Madras Legislative Council, first met this day in 1921, whose centenary celebrations are being held today. The house that functions at the 17th century Fort St. George in Chennai has the prestige of making historic legislations. They include giving voting rights for women in its very first year. It led Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy, the first Indian woman doctor in the government maternity and ophthalmic hospital in Madras, to become the first woman legislator in India, who contributed to several social reforms. President Kovind will be unveiling the portrait of the DMK leader M. Karunanidhi, popularly known as Kalaignar, who led the party for about half a century and ruled the state as the chief minister during 5 different terms. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said Prime Minister Narendra Modi understands the need of the people of Uttar Pradesh and has done a lot for the state. Mr. Shah was addressing a public gathering at Mirzapur district in Uttar Pradesh yesterday. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government at the centre believes in taking care of the poor and downtrodden. He said the union government has made reservation in medical seats for other backward classes and economically weaker section of the society. The Home Minister said several welfare schemes have been started by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath-led BJP government in the state and people are being benefited from them.
उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर जब से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनी, योगी आदित्यनाथ जी इसके मुखिया बने, ढेर सारे काम और आज यहाँ पर मंदिर पराकोट का निर्माण, परिक्रमा पथ का निर्माण, रोड व मेन गेट की व्यवस्थाएं, मंदिर के गलियों के फसाड ट्रीटमेंट का कार्यक्रम, मां विंध्यवासिनी को आने जाने वालों को जोड़ने का, रोड जोड़ने का कार्यक्रम, विंध्याचल मेरा परिक्षेत्र में पार्किंग, शॉपिंग सेंटर, कई प्रकार की व्यवस्थाएं यहाँ पर शुरू होने जा रही है.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Union Minister Anupriya Patel were also present at the event. The Union Home Minister launched several development projects in the state. He laid the foundation stone for Vindhyanchal Corridor project and inaugurated a ropeway in Mirzapur. During his visit, he also offered prayers at the Vindhyavasini temple. Mr. Shah also offered prayers at Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi. Myanmar's military ruler has named himself the Prime Minister and announced to extend the state of emergency for 2 years. The military government named itself the Caretaker Government and General Min Aung Hlaing the Prime Minister. Min Aung Hlaing repeated a pledge to restore democracy and hold elections, saying they will accomplish the provisions of the state of emergency by August 2023. He said his administration will work with any special envoy named by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. ASEAN foreign ministers are to meet today when diplomats say they aim to finalize a special envoy tasked with ending violence and promoting dialogue between the military government and its opponents. The state of emergency was declared when troops moved against the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi on 1st of February this year. The country has been gripped by protests for several months afterward.
India's Kamalpreet Kaur will compete in the women's discus throw final at 4:30 p.m. this evening at Tokyo Olympics. She is hoping to become the first Indian to win a medal in athletics at the Olympics. With 64 meters throw in the qualifying round, Kaur automatically qualified for the medal event. Other athlete to qualify automatically was Valerie Allman of the United States with a throw of 66.42 meters. In women's hockey, quarter-final match between India and Australia is underway at the OE Hockey Stadium. In the semi-finals, winner will play Argentina, who beat Germany 3-0 this morning in other quarter-finals. Rani Rampal's side has already made history by reaching the knockouts. Ireland's loss to Great Britain meant India qualified for the quarter-finals of Tokyo Olympics women's hockey as the fourth-place team in Group A. India had finished last at Rio 2016, having qualified for women's hockey at the Olympics after a gap of 36 years at that time. In shooting, Aishwarya Pratap Singh Tomar and Sanjeev Rajput are participating in men's 50 meters rifle 3 positions. India's only equestrian at the Olympics in over 2 decades, Fawad Mirza, was placed 22nd after the cross-country round yesterday. A good round in the individual show jumping qualifier at 1:30 p.m. will ensure that he remains in the top 25 and makes to the eventing individual jumping final at 5:15 this evening. Indian sprinter Aditi Chand ran her season's best but still failed to qualify for the semi-finals of women's 200 meters as she clocked 23.85 seconds to finish last in the heat this morning. The 9th day of Tokyo Olympics 2020 proved to be a historic day for India. India's star shuttler PV Sindhu won the women's singles bronze medal and the Indian men's hockey team made it to the semi-finals. A report.
Star shuttler PV Sindhu scripted history yesterday when she became the first woman athlete from India to win 2 individual Olympic medals.
She's done it. Pusala Venkata Sindhu, her second Olympic medal in the women's singles. A bronze medal in Tokyo 2020 to follow on from her silver medal in Rio de Janeiro.
Sindhu defeated Ha Bingjiao 21-15, 21-13 in just 53 minutes for the bronze medal match. She had won a silver medal at the 2016 Rio Games. Sindhu is also only the 4th women's singles player to win back-to-back medals at the Olympic Games. With this, India's medal count swelled to 3. Weightlifter Mirabai Chanu secured a silver, while boxer Lovlina Borgen is assured of at least a bronze after making the semi-finals to be held on 4th of August. A determined Indian men's hockey team advanced to the Olympic semi-finals for the first time in 4 decades, beating Great Britain 3-1 in the quarter-finals yesterday. The 8-time former Olympic champion scored 3 field goals through Dilpreet Singh, Gurjan Singh and Hardik Singh to seal the win. Great Britain's lone goal was scored by Sam Ward from a penalty corner in the 45th minute. India will take on world champions Belgium in the semi-final tomorrow. On the golf course, Anirban Lahiri ended his second Olympic campaign at tied 42nd spot after the 4th and final round. The other Indian in fray, Udyan Mane, ended 56th. India's boxer Satish Kumar bowed out of quarter-finals of his debut games after putting up a fierce fight against reigning world and Asian champion Bakhador Jalolov of Uzbekistan. Satish is India's first super heavyweight boxer to compete in the Olympics. The 32-year-old entered the ring with 13 stitches on his face. His cuts opened up, but Satish didn't back off, and though he lost the bout unanimously, he earned the respect of his opponent and the fans. Aarti Rana, Sports Desk.
The 10-day monsoon session of Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly will begin today in Shimla. Today's proceedings will begin at 2 p.m. with condolence to the members of the House who passed away recently. The monsoon session will continue till 13th of August. Assembly Speaker Vipin Parmar said that strict adherence to the COVID guidelines issued by the central and state governments will be ensured during the Assembly session. He urged all members to cooperate in the smooth functioning of the House. Mr. Parmar informed that as per the COVID-19 protocol, elaborate arrangements have been made for the monsoon session for the safety of the members, officials and media persons. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi is likely to experience generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Maximum temperature will be around 29 degrees Celsius, rising from a minimum of 25 degrees. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain, with temperature hovering between 27 and 32 degrees Celsius. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Lower limit of temperature was 28 degrees Celsius, while upper limit will be around 34 degrees. Srinagar will experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Temperature will hover between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. Jammu will also likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Leh is expected to have generally cloudy sky. It recorded 12 degrees Celsius as minimum temperature, while maximum will be nearly 26 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with temperature hovering between 21 and 35 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 32 degrees. Guwahati will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers with temperature rising from a minimum of 27 degrees Celsius to a maximum of 33 degrees. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. City witnessed a minimum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum will be around 30 degrees. Shillong will experience generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Aizawl will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 27 degrees. Kohima is expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature will hover between 22 and 30 degrees Celsius. Itanagar will experience generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature will rise from minimum of 22 degrees Celsius to a maximum of 32 degrees. Gangtok will experience generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Temperature will hover between 18 and 21 degrees Celsius. Agartala will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers, and temperature will hover between 26 and 31 degrees Celsius.
And now, an overview of today's newspapers. All dailies lead with the Super Sunday news that scripted history in Olympics. The Times of India headline writes, Sindhu first Indian woman to win 2 Olympic medals, men's hockey team in semis. The Tribune observes India's long wait in hockey. The headline says, in hockey semis after 49 years. Hindustan Times writes, Italian sprinter Jacob stuns world with 100-meter victory in 9.8 seconds. India begins its UNSC presidency, reports the Asian Age, with focus areas like maritime security, peacekeeping, combating terrorism, and COVID-19 pandemic for the month of August. The Pioneer notes, tough measures to contain COVID rise, with states beginning to place travel restrictions as cases remain above 40,000. GST revenues hit 1.16 lakh crore rupees in July. Rise in collections a sign of economic rebound, reports The Hindu. The Financial Express cites unemployment rate falls to 4-month low of 6.95% in July. And finally, in a major breakthrough to promote recovery from COVID-19, a story in The Statesman writes about the Ayush Ministry and UK School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine conducting a study on ashwagandha.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch e-Rupee, a cashless and contactless instrument for digital payment today. Indian and Chinese armies establish hotline for Sikkim sector. India begins UN Security Council presidency for August. President Ramnath Kovind to embark on a 5-day visit to Tamil Nadu today. More than 47 crore 2 lakh doses of corona vaccine administered in the country so far. Educational institutions to reopen in several states today. Myanmar's military extends emergency for 2 years. PV Sindhu bags bronze at Tokyo Olympics. President, Vice President and Prime Minister congratulate her on the historic win. And India's Kamalpreet Kaur to play her final in women's discus throw at Tokyo Games this evening. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsoneir.gov.in. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.